Got a text early this morning that the EPA was in town in the creeks in the middle of town. So I was out of town, and as I was coming home, I stopped. You can see the tubing that's coming through the tunnel. This is one of the shortest tunnels you'll see in town. There are much, much longer ones. This is under the municipal building, and if I were to turn around and look the other way, there would be the Moose's Lodge. And here's the tanker. Funny, I thought it was funny. I thought they were doing just the usual, the gravity-fed water feed, where they're just stirring up the chemicals and sending them down creek, because the truck didn't have any placards on it saying toxic material. Here you can see this structure. I don't know if that's an apartment building. I'd have to look on the front. Yeah, I've been here 30 years, but I still don't know what the back of this building is. I don't know if people live there or that's just a municipal building, the back of it. But you can see why people in the municipal building initially were getting sick. Headaches, reporting the smell. There is a heavy petroleum smell here. Now, the truck was running, and they did smell diesel, but I have a diesel tractor. There's something else. It's the smell that I've smelt in this creek since the derailment. It's a heavy, pungent smell, like old petroleum. There's my partner in crime. That's Randy DeHaven of America 2.0 Media. So as we look down here, I had to turn the sound down because this truck was so loud. It was really nice because one of the young kids gave me earplugs. He was concerned that it was too loud for me. So that was really nice, and I thanked him. Not so nice was the boss, or the main guy. He was nice enough, but he said it's too loud for me to be near that truck, which was, in my opinion, just stupid. This is kind of how we've been treated. Some people are really nice to us and others. You can see this guy with a pick, like a pickaxe and a shovel. He was actually swinging away. It was pretty dark in there for me to see. They said we would need a hard hat, which I do have a hard hat, and a life vest. And I have plenty of those just from fishing, my fishing boat. So my new filter came in on my gas mask. So I don't know, I may try. Now, when I came here through this short tunnel, we walked, Jake Koza and I walked all these tunnels. This was a very short one. He didn't go with me in this tunnel. As we came to the town, he left and I continued going through the tunnels. This one still had a lot of chemicals in it as of about a month ago. I am sure, this is kind of weird because it's not a full assessment maybe. I don't believe they're testing. They're just pulling the sediment out. So who knows how many chemicals they're pulling out of there. This would get stuck every once in a while as the sediment and rocks are coming up these tubes. These young men here were hitting it with a shovel handle as the rocks would get stuck. So there's a lot of sediment going into that tanker, almost as if you were like vacuuming up popcorn seeds in your vacuum. That's what it sounded like, except this truck is extremely loud. But you hear the sediment and rocks hitting the insides of the tube as they're being sucked into the tanker. Here's where the guy's kicking me out. He's saying I have to go. I really, I was nice, but I really wasn't listening. I just backed up a little bit. He said to clear the area. So I'm not saying, and you'll see where they stand in front of me, I'm not saying they do that on purpose. Maybe they're just watching, but, I still have a clear view here. They're banging away and shoveling and using pickaxes at the sediment. I'm not sure if those are and this woman here, this girl, she'll get in front of the view. But there's really not much to see. You can see the workers back there digging and using a pickaxe at the sediment in the tunnels, and they're just sucking everything up. And again, the chemicals were really bad in these tunnels just as 4 weeks ago. There really was no cleanup. This is, at the bottom of this tunnel, it's concrete. But if you think about it, years of creek water flowing down, it brought a ton of sediment into these tunnels here, these concrete tunnels. And they're busting it up, and their hose malfunctioned. It broke here, or shortly it will break, and then they duct tape it together. When I heard the ripping sounds, I wasn't quite sure what it was. It was just the duct tape coming off the roll. I do want to thank those younger guys who were really nice to me. They let me film right up next to the railing there, and why not? I mean, it's our town. We're concerned. We just want to know what's going on. People want to know what's going on. So again, they're just sucking up sediment there. I think the hose is about to break here at the junction. Here's just a back shot. You can see, those of you that don't live here, this is about a mile or so from the crash site, and this is where the creek meandered down into town, and this will eventually work its way down to the park. And you can see how the buildings are built upon the creeks, on top of the tunnels. And yes, he's climbing down there. That's where the hose, the joint came apart. Notice, they have, well, these guys don't have life jackets on, but the guys down there do. But there's no PPE. I was out all morning running around in a neighboring town, about a half an hour away, and I felt fine. And it's not as if I think about these things. It's not as if I say, "Oh, I'm by the creek. My eyes are supposed to be burning." That's the furthest thing from my mind. But about after a half an hour of filming, my eyes were very red and they're burning, and I can smell something that I always smell when I get down to that creek, especially when you disturb it. Mostly when you disturb it, or if it's a bad day and I see the chemicals just free flowing down the creek. There's a smell as if you walked into maybe a unkept old auto garage that has just oil. It smells like petroleum, a deep, not a sweet smell, a deep, pungent, musky smell. And my eyes were definitely burning at this point. And so, it's just more of the same. They're just sucking things up and sucking sediment up, which is good to see. Should have been done from the beginning. We'll never know how many chemicals they pulled out of that sediment because they're just sucking it up. I don't know that there's any evaluation of what they're sucking up. I'm going to say no. They're just, cleaning out the tunnels as best they can. My opinion is it's been sitting there for 10 months now. In the areas where there isn't concrete, those chemicals are down deep in the soil. And that was, again, not to belabor the point, but when the bridge came down and they took that 5-foot shovel with the backhoe, you could see the chemicals very, very far down had already leached into the soil. It was like a gift to us, showing us like a geological experiment. When you see the different levels of soil and different periods, like in time, and you can see as at that time, about 6 or 7 months out, that the chemicals have already leached down feet into the ground. So there was also faults in here in the creek. Here's the bypass. There were faults in the tunnels I showed. So I don't know, it's going to be hard to tell how much went under the tunnels as well. But here's a bypass. It's the tube that I was talking about that you see on the left there. That water is being bypassed from above where they are working, going downstream. So that's it. Just a report about the Coast Guard and the EPA here in town.